Hi, I'm Mitama. And you know, drunk driving may kill a lot of people, but it also helps a lot of people get to work on time, so it's impossible to say if it's bad or not.
I get it.
Welcome to Magia Record Talkabouts.
I get it. I'm just imagining if you just put Doppel in place of drunk driving. Because, I mean, I know that's the reference, but I like the idea that Doppel, it helps people get to work on time. Don't use your Doppel just to get to work on time. It might be fast because it's so big, but you're going to have problems. Anyways, hey, everybody, it's time for episodes 3 and 4. So, Fiend, I know that we were pretty bullish on it. You were pretty excited. So how you love the show? Is your favorite show now?
Well, yeah, this has been a bit of a roller coaster for me, because I think 3 was very good, and I think 4 is pretty bad. So I sort of like last week when I watched 3, I was quite thrown by like, man, this show seems like it's getting good. What the fuck? I don't get it. Where did this come from? We had a whole season of a show that was pretty dodge, and then episode 4 happened, and I was like, okay. Okay. I really do think that like the 2 episodes on their own are like, one's a really good example of doing Madoka spin-off well, and the other one's a pretty good example of doing it badly. Like, all the good instincts and taking the right ideas, and then all the bad instincts and taking the wrong ideas. IMO.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Like, I don't think I'm quite as bullish on episode 3, though I did like it. And it seemed like they were having fun, and there's some stuff. And episode 4 is just like, you guys sure are making some choices. You're sure doing some things in this TV show, eh?
Yeah.
I guess you're living your best lives, so that's cool.
We get into it, I guess?
Yeah, let's hop in. They start by showing us the whole Nemu saying, Iroha, blah, blah, the eternal Sakura, blah, blah, and Doppel Iroha attacking, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and also I wanted to mention the OP, something I forgot to mention last time, because obviously he'll come up later, our Sakuga man. I think his name's Nakamura. I should have written it down. But at the end of the OP, there's a shot that's really funny because it's like the camera kind of turns around and zooms in on Iroha's face, and then suddenly it's his Sakuga style with, like his very distinctive highlights and everything. And it's just so blatant. It's so jarring every time.
Yeah, this is part of my issue with his Sakuga in general so far, is that you can tell when it switches on.
Yeah.
Just from the change in the shading. And also because you can't follow anything that's happening. That's also a problem. But yeah. So now when we say that Iroha's Doppel attacks Yachiyo and Kuroe, what we mean is that it sort of surrounds them, and then the OP plays, and then Yachiyo wakes up in bed at the villa.
Dun-dun. Yeah, at her normal house that she lives in with the other girls, and the other girls are there.
They are.
But she's like, what? I was in here with Doppel, and then blah. So we're like, okay, so this is some kind of dream realm, like you do.
Yeah, she hears that Iroha was here, but probably hasn't gotten up yet, so she runs to her room, and Iroha was there. She gives her a hug. It's all really like lit in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Everything in this space just feels very soft and gentle and shit, and it's all paced really nicely too. Like, I don't know, the soundtrack's nice, the music's nice. And then she hugs Iroha and is like, saying, is it really you? And Iroha is confused, but as she's looking at her, Doppel face flickering in and out.
Spooky Doppel, I like it. And then I do like how the girls are all hanging out in the main room, like just talking like everything's normal. And then Yachiyo kind of turns her aside and is like, so we were absorbed by Iroha's Doppel then, huh? And Kuroe is there and she's like,
Kuroe's just like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, because she doesn't know any of these people except for Iroha.
Yeah.
Also, they're on the biggest fucking bar stools. I don't know if the scale is weird on purpose, because obviously they love to be weird on purpose, but the bar stools are so big.
You're really getting hung up on a lot of very small details in this show.
I like visuals. I am a visual artist, Fiend, and these things are relevant to me.
That's fair. I'm just saying.
Because, I mean, sometimes, like, this happened in fucking Other Side Picnic, too. There were sometimes just scenes where, like, the characters were way out of scale with the background. And so normally that's kind of like a compositing error kind of thing. But because it's this show, you don't know whether that's an error or not. They like to be weird.
We haven't seen anything on the scale of, like, Yang's Kitchen in season 4 or anything, but, like, yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Hey, first Ruby of the night.
Yeah, there you go. So, mark it down.
Anyways,
yeah.
I will say I really like Kuroe's voice, and it's too bad because when she's in her school uniform, I like her visually, and she has a kind of nice voice, and I'm like, I could get down with this girl. It's just too bad about her Maguka form.
Yeah, it's a bad outfit. Kuroe explains why she's here and why she was looking for Iroha, about how Nemu sent her here and gave her this piece of paper that explains all of this shit, sort of.
And Yachiyo's like, are you really the Iroha I know? The one who loves her little sister? And Iroha's like, my little sister, blah, we're on a train now.
There's an aesthetic effect in this episode that I quite like, where you see like scenes being torn in half and then stitched back together.
Yeah. There's some nice transitions, and I like the one that's later with the sparkler. Where she cuts the thing.
That was super nice, yeah. This episode in general looks really good.
Yeah, they're having a lot of the same fun that they're having in Rebellion, and it's a very similar thing to Rebellion, because it's funny because in a little bit they'll figure out that they're in a witch barrier, basically, because it's like, well, Doppels are basically witches, so they can do a barrier, but it's much more like a Rebellion witch barrier than anything you would see in the show.
Yeah,
so Yachiyo's seen Rebellion.
After the transition, they're suddenly on a train, and they're like, why are we on a train? And Nero was like, because we're going to see my sister, of course. And they go to the hospital. Nemu and Toka are sort of dancing around a model of the city, singing about their rumours, their ruwasas.
Their song sucks.
They're little kids.
This is a shitty song. I don't care. They're mass murderers.
It's true.
And they have a poo-poo song. The city, the big model of the city is funny because that's another thing where I'm like, is this here because it's a dream, or does their room just look like that? I would believe either way.
Well, in episode 4, we see a flashback to the room, and Nemu's bed is like almost buried under books. So I'm like, yeah, that was meant to be reality just then. So.
Oh yeah, we did see that in episode 1, or I mean, in the first season, there was like a giant, ridiculous pile of books in that like little 3D mechanical thing that was rolling around.
Yeah. So, you know.
Everything's stupid all the time.
Look, this is an extra episode, but in general, it's an extra show. I'm becoming okay with that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Even when it is silly.
So
Kuroe reveals to Yachiyo that Nemu was the one who made up all the uasas.
Yeah.
And Yachiyo's like, well, that's interesting.
Don't know.
But then they go to check on Ui, because Ui should be here. And what's the go with Ui?
Yeah, so Iroha's like, I'm gonna reach under this bed, come on out, Ui. And it's a stuffed, shitty-looking, fucked up bear. It's a little stuffed bear that she's calling her sister Ui, and they're like, that ain't right.
She's holding the bear up to her ear and pretending it's talking and telling Nemu and Toka that, oh, Ui said, blah, 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 we should go to a theme park or something. Yeah.
So that's why they're like, this must be Iroha's dream, so what are we gonna do? And Yachiyo transforms and fucks some shit up, but then it repairs itself, and it's like...
Yeah, and she's like, well, this isn't reality. Like, I like the deduction here was how... Okay, well, we were attacked by Iroha's Doppel, and a Doppel is basically a witch, really, like functionally and everything, so I guess this is some sort of witch barrier. But... Like, obviously something slightly deeper is going on, because it isn't just the Doppel trying to kill them or whatever. The Doppel's doing something else that isn't clear.
Oh, yeah. So they find a little mystery door that leads to, like, a wheat field.
Well, it's interesting, because they have this bit where they're discussing it, and then the lighting changes dramatically, so you know that the shit's fucked up. And... because the lights just slowly fade down, and then the city lights up, and there was a focus on a Ferris wheel in the city.
Spoilers.
But yeah, then all of a sudden Ui's bed has it's like a 4-poster bed with curtains, and yeah, they find this mysterious door in there. Yachiyo goes through and steps into a wheat field zone, but tells Kuroe that she doesn't trust her and doesn't want to help, so fuck off, just go wait somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny that before they were talking, they were just cool talking to each other, and she's like, oh wait, actually I remembered you're my enemy, so don't fucking follow me.
Yeah.
While Kuroe is left behind, she's like, witches, this is a witch, is Iroha a witch? And then Iroha shows up and she's like, a witch! And then there's that little cutesy scene of them fighting it like it's a kid's show, and that was cute.
Yeah, well, I really like that, because they're fighting a witch and Kyubei's there, and they defeat the witch, and then the witch explodes into a billion fucking grief seeds, but they're like candy colored grief seeds where they're still black in the middle, but the metal ribbing is all bright colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Iroha's got she's holding like a bucket full with both arms and is just handing them out. I don't know.
I think about it, this episode really is just like a little speed run of Rebellion.
A little bit, yeah, in some ways.
It feels like they were like, hey, that was a good idea. We'll do that in Iroha's Doppel.
Yeah. I was pretty okay with the way with them doing this liminal dream thing, because
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, they pulled it off really well. Like I said, I think in general this episode was pretty well executed.
Yeah.
Like the transitions are cool. Like it's like after that we cut back to Yachiyo, who's just like running through this endless wheat field. There's a train. Why not? And then she runs up the hospital's here suddenly, and she runs up the side of it, and on the side of it is Iroha in a bed, but she's sort of transparent, and the scene from when Yachiyo first woke up starts playing out again. But everyone's sort of like this sort of weird spacey purple transparent sort of look. And as Yachiyo realizes this is all fucked up, she just pulls her spear out and swings it through the other girls.
Get 'em.
And they pop like a firework. And it was, and this is the transition to another scene. I was like, that was nice. I really liked that.
Yeah. So now they're doing sparklers. Everyone's hanging out outside the house just doing sparklers like it's all normal. And Kuroe and Iroha end up talking. And this is where I was like, I feel like we really needed more context for Iroha and Kuroe's relationship.
Yeah. That's the biggest issue with bringing her in now. After her barely featuring in season 1, is like,
yeah,
if they're meant to be close friends, or even maybe like, I was trying to work out, are they playing with the idea that maybe they weren't that close? Like maybe they just like they were school friends, but not like there was nothing really deep going on there. But it's so hard to tell. With now, Ira was talking about Kuroe like she's one of the most important people to her, like the rest of the other girls from the villa and shit. And it's hard to follow.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really know what their view of each other is or whatnot.
You get the impression that Kuroe does like Iroha and cares about it, and like thinks well of her. Because like one thing she notices is because Yachiyo's gone into whatever the other wheat realm is, there's a Yachiyo here now, but like one that's been generated by Iroha. All the kids are just sort of playing around with sparklers, and Yachiyo's like come inside, I've made some food. And Iroha sort of starts talking about how cool she thinks Yachiyo is. Yeah, and
Yachiyo's being all motherly in an apron. And this made me think about how we were talking about, I really like Yachiyo as a mom figure. And that's part of why, and besides they're way too fucking age gap to be together. If it was just always played like Yachiyo was basically like a motherly figure to Iroha, then I would be super down.
Yeah.
And when I think about it, like her being the angry mama looking for Iroha in the last episode and stuff, then I'm down with it. But as soon as it's like, no, they're romantic, I'm like,
The trouble with the romantic stuff is it's like, I don't feel like the show is hinting that so much, but fuck me, the new AD and a bunch of like sort of, there's imagery elsewhere associated with the show that does, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it's sort of playing it, however. Whatever you like, whatever makes you buy the figures.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Like it's that thing of, we're not shipping them, but we're not shipping them, so, you interpret it however you like, and I'm just like, bleh.
Woo.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. There was a nice little moment here for Kuroe in terms of her development where, like, because we haven't gotten into why she decided to join the Wings of the Magius yet, but there's a bit where she asks Iroha, do you have anything you really want to do if you could do anything? And Iroha was just sort of like, I don't have any particular wishes or any particular hopes. I feel like I'm getting everything I need from the people around me who have given me a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a moment when Kuroe says, yeah, I guess I don't really have any hope either. And I thought that was nice as a way of saying, yeah, that's basically where she was, and that's probably why she joined.
Yeah.
Just a lack of hope. Like, yeah.
Don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then back to Yachiyo, and she's like, there's the most suspicious thing here. Actually, nothing about it. She's confronting the stuffed bear. It's much like how Homura, the Yachiyo is the Homura, and the stuffed bear is Bebe from Rebellion. I'm just now realizing how many parallels there are here.
The parallels aren't going to stop. Let me tell you.
But anyways, she's like, you're the enemy, and but then it just falls over, and she's like, well, I don't know what to fucking do now.
This leads into the best shot I've seen in this show so far.
You love it.
I love this shot so much. Because, like, yeah, she's there with the spear, and she's like, it's going to explode or something, and she pokes it, and just bloop. Like, it just falls over. And she's just like, well, fucking now what? And then, like, there's another scene, but then it cuts back to Yachiyo, who's just sitting on a chair staring at the bear with, like, a really just sort of expression, and it's such an incredible mood.
Yeah, she's just like, well. I like the scene that between that is Iroha asking Kuroe if she doesn't like Ui, because Kuroe asked something about Ui, and Iroha's like, do you not like Ui? And Kuroe's like, I just don't know her.
That was a funny reaction.
I don't know anything about her.
But like the specific thing she asks is, hey, why is Ui just a stuffed animal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's like you really seem to care about your sister, and I know from Yachiyo that you were looking for her desperately. So why are you pretending this stuffed animal is your sister?
Very forward.
And when Iroha is asking, don't you like Nemu? It's the first time Iroha was sort of seemed cross or even like not just perfectly happy in this whatever this dream realm is.
Yeah.
Which is important.
You said Nemu, by the way.
Oh,
We're
sorry.
talking about Ui.
Ui.
Talking about Ui now.
Hey.
Ui.
It's the most fucking ooh name. I'll never get over it.
Name's Ui. Iroha kind of doppelifies and attacks Kuroe, and when that happens, there's a glowing yellow ribbon, but I guess it's not mommy related, and that's a legal show. You need to fix that shit.
Well, hang on. It's two different scenes like happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But the reason she doppels is that while Yachiyo is sitting there with that sort of, glum expression of not really being sure what to do, Iroha turns up in that space that she's in, this weird wheat field. And is saying, aren't you coming to the hospital? Everyone will be sad if you don't come to the hospital. And she's like, where's Ui? What's going on? And Iroha pulls out Ui, the bear. And it's like, look, it's Ui. Ui's here. Yay. And Yachiyo's like, fuck this. And just throws the bear up in the air and stabs it.
Yeah.
and that's when Iroha doppels.
Yeah. And she's like, why are you getting in my way? I replaced her horrible nightmares with good dreams. Why are you trying to stop me? And you get the vibe that that's her doppel speaking.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most interesting part of the episode so far for me. And also, this was the point when I was like, this is good. I like what they're doing with doppels at this point. Because, so what happened was, while Iroha was like sunken right into a doppel, she was having nightmares where everyone was just being killed over and over again. So what the Doppel did was create a layer of good dreams on top of that to prevent her soul gem from completely tainting out and just to make things easier for Iroha. It becomes a sort of loose metaphor for like denying reality, essentially. It's sort of playing the Doppel like it's a kind of an unhealthy but protective mental behavior.
Yeah, I don't know, because past this point, I feel like it became a pretty generic Lotus Eater machine situation where it's like, you can't just live in this perfect realm. It's not real, but it's happier than the real world, but you have to be in the real world. And I was like, okay, I get what we're doing.
Yeah. Like, it's not super deep, and it's been done before, but I did like that as the way of sort of, like, the idea of Doppels, rather than just being this sort of, like, weird power-up mode, as a way of manifesting their danger as like, replicating dangerous, I guess, ways of coping with bad emotions.
But only her Doppel does it, though.
Well, kind of. I mean, like, you could point to what Yachiyo's Doppel was doing, is in, like, that's her giving in to her anger and her, just how pissed off she is and becoming violent in a way that, she wasn't. It protects her by getting people away from her and that kind of thing. So it felt like what they were going to do was use Doppels to sort of represent the ways that these people were unhealthily coping with the things they were going through. And that's kind of the danger. I don't know. That was the vibe I got from the last episode and then this one more so, which I dug. I thought that was like interesting.
We'll see how much that holds up.
Yeah, it doesn't. But but like, this is, Yachiyo's way of breaking her out of this is to say, like, is to point out that this isn't real. Like, first of all, that, like, making Ui into this one-dimensional teddy bear is an insult to her. I liked how she pointed out that, like, you've kind of glossed over Felicia and Sana's downsides, like the way that Felicia was a brat and Sana was kind of a pain in the ass, and the way she was always worried about what everyone thought of her.
Yeah.
Looking back on that scene, I kind of like that, because then you look at the way that her Yachiyo was behaving, and it's like, well, this is her ideal version of Yachiyo, is the mum.
Yeah. I like how the Doppel, it seemed like even the Doppel, even in this dream world, can't make Ui exist. So she just had to fill in this place that Ui is supposed to occupy with this stuffed bear. Shows her filling the stuffed bear into all those old... I'd forgotten about those really funny photos from the first season where she's holding a blank space where Ui is supposed to be.
Yeah. But that was... I liked that, the way that the Doppel... Like, the thing is that there's sort of a blurry line between the Doppel and Iroha.
Yeah.
Because the Doppel is admitting that, like, Yachiyo said, you wanted to find Ui. That was the important thing to you. Don't you want to find Ui? And the Doppel's like, well, I can't find her, so I can do this instead. This is as good as I can do. Like, the Doppel kind of almost admitting that, this isn't good enough, but it's I'm trying my best here.
Anyways, a lot of big strong bears attack now. Big burrs.
Yeah.
Burr.
Also Kuroe's here. She's going to fight too with her maracas.
Oh yeah.
I get that this is, like, definitely something that's been done in anime before, the whole, you can't just hide from reality, you have to come out and deal with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not saying, like, I hate it. It's just, like, I've seen this. Yeah. It's solid. It's okay.
I just felt like it was well executed, and it sort of fit. This is the most interesting Iroha has ever been to me.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Like, just Iroha, like, admitting that she's terrified, that she's never going to be able to find Ui. She's terrified of everyone else witching out or something happening to them, and... right now she just cannot deal with it.
Yeah, part of her just wants to give up.
Yeah, that's the most that she's ever, like, that's the most emotion she's ever shown in the show or in the game. Like,
yeah.
Like, just the idea of, like, even just the idea of her giving in is kind of interesting, as opposed to, like, her just being the constantly, like, no, we must keep fighting,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Generic protag.
Yeah, exactly.
But Yachiyo's like, didn't you promise we'd always be together? And that makes Iroha go like, blah. And she's released from the Doppel and is falling, and they're like, Iroha!
It's a combination of saying, didn't you promise we were always going to be together?
Oh, that's right.
And Yachiyo throwing a spear at her head.
Fuck yeah. It's good. And it rips off the blinding ribbons that were on Iroha's face, and she's like, oh, it's my Yachiyo. Wow, I'm falling. And then I'd forgotten that connects were a thing in this show.
Yeah, I had to, but now they're really leaning into them this season.
Yeah. So Yachiyo connects with Kuroe, where they hold hands and then do something, this animation of some sort, and then they win.
Yeah. There's a very pretty scene. They pop out of the Doppel, and they're back at the tree. Iroha is sort of falling towards Yachiyo, and then Yachiyo's crying because she's just so relieved and everything. And I know this is cliched, but it got to me. The animation was nice, the voice acting was good, and I just like, oh man.
I was distracted by the janky faces. The faces start becoming janky during this scene, and some of like the timing and stuff is a bit janky, and I'm like, it begins.
I don't know. I got too wrapped up in it. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, the voice acting was definitely doing it for me with Yachiyo, cry.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's part where they're like, you know, being all ambiguously gay with their foreheads pretty close to each other, smiling, and they get the super anime side mouth. I'm just like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
And Kuroe's watching with her dumb outfit.
Yeah. I don't know. I think rewatching this episode and then comparing it to the next episode, I think I figured out kind of why I liked this episode in particular. This felt like it was a bit closer to the original series in terms of like a character going through a thing and having something to say about dealing with reality or, you know, losing hope, that kind of stuff.
Shit, we gotta recover Rebellion stuff.
Yeah, we do. I know what you mean about how it's touching on a bunch of stuff that happened in Rebellion and kind of using it, but I don't know. This was decently executed, and yeah, and something about the focus on the states of minds of the characters as opposed to stupid twists and dumb mechanics.
Yeah, again, 2 and 3, we are actually seeing proper characterization instead of everyone being aggressively weird at each other.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what it is? It's because it's Yachiyo.
Yeah.
it's because it's Yachiyo, the only character who, like, in this show who has anything interesting going on, and who the writers seem to like writing about.
I like Yachiyo.
And again, but also like I said, this is the first episode where Iroha has been interesting to me ever.
Yeah.
Because they were doing some characterization, like.
And when she comes out, her hair is just down, which I like more than her weird braided thing.
Yes, true.
It's cute. Episode 4? Episode 4. Their profile faces look weird, but in a different style. They're in the same scene, and the profiles are in a third style, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, Shaft? What the fuck is going on?
It's really unfortunate because they start with roughly the same shot they ended episode 3 with. And while I know what you mean about the faces being a little jank in episode 3, they're quite jank in episode 4. And like now you can just do a direct comparison. You can just flick back and forth like whook. It's like, ooh.
When baby Kyubey shows up is nightmarish.
Tiny leg.
She is not kawaii. Oh my god. Anyways, the tree's like, hey, Iroha, you're supposed to bring all 4 of you together or whatever, so since it's not all 4 of you together, I'm out. See ya. Pachoo. And it fucks off.
Yeah, and they wake up back in the super extra mall in a pile of sakura leaves. So, yeah.
Ah, it's beautiful. and now Kuroe is part of their family, and then they welcome her to the house.
I mean, look, to be fair, Yachiyo still seems kind of sus of her, which is fair.
Yeah, she should be.
Kuroe tells them that like the plan was for her. First of all, they note that it's interesting that Nemu seems to remember who Iroha is when Toka didn't.
Yeah. Why does she and not Toka? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
But also that like what Kuroe was told to do was, hey, just bring her to me. Like, I want to see her. Yachiyo's not really too keen on that idea, but so, yeah, Iroha just wants to know if Nemu's okay and what's going on with Nemu, so she wants to talk to her.
She just wants to help these precious little uwu sisters that are important to her.
Yeah.
They're just innocent little babies.
We'll get into this. So
there's another terrifying tiny baby Kyubey.
So they decide to go because obviously Kuroe has a way to get to Faint Hope, which is something they've not had so far.
Yeah. Oh, and you see that the typhoon's already moving in. As they're about to go in, you see a big news screen saying that the typhoon is already moving in. So Walpurgis Nacht is on her way.
Yes. See, it's funny. After episode 3, I kind of thought the pace they were going at meant that, like, it feels like they're probably not going to wrap things up this season. But no, I think they probably are.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. They are speedrunning this shit.
Yeah. Now they are, with episode 4. So they go to where the gate is, but just as they arrive, the 2 annoying sisters pop out.
The twins, they still exist.
Yeah. It was just a coincidence. But the twins are here, and Yachiyo gets separated from Kuroe and Iroha. Iroha and Kuroe get through the gate. Yachiyo is going to have to fight the twins.
I like that at first, like the twins are like, oh no, you're not supposed to be here. And Kuroe is like, no, I'm just bringing her back because that is what I was asked to do. I mean, we're not like sneaking in or whatever. I'm just bringing her like she asked. And they're like, but not Yachiyo's not supposed to be here. And then Yachiyo's like, fuck it. And she just attacks him.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And then, you pointed this out in episode 2, but there is a running thing now that Yachiyo just unlimited spears. Like, in the dream realm, she was running on a staircase of spears she was making. In this one, like, she covers Iroha and Kuroe getting through the gate by summoning, like, 20 of them and just, like, shooting them off one by one. Like, as they sort of hover next to her.
There's too many spears, in my opinion, Fiend. It's not cool to me to see a bunch of 3D spheres just like flying at things. It's not my fun Sakugas.
Well, yeah, it's not dissimilar to the 3D guns, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look that bad generally. No. It's not as blatantly 3D or whatever, but it's just like there's only so much you can do with a bunch of floating spheres flying in one direction visually.
It's a little bit Dragon Ball Z-ish in that sort of huge, big laser energy flying everywhere, and at a certain point it's like, this stops being interesting at a certain point, I guess.
Yeah. Or she'd have to do something cool like Penny and Ruby, like in the way that they're manipulated or whatnot. You could do something cool, but she just summons them and they just fly in a direction.
Yeah. Anyway, so Yachiyo starts fighting the twins, one of whom doppels, and we just don't see the rest of that fight for this episode, so we don't know what happens there.
Oh, I didn't notice that they doppeled. I noticed that they summoned an Alina cube. I'd forgotten about her very powerful cubes.
Maybe that's what it was. No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the cube come, and they end up that's how they're in the witch realm or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It's a cube. Anyway, giant-ass bookland.
Iroha and Kuroe, however, end up underneath Faint Hope, not the place where Kuroe was supposed to enter. Because this just must have been wherever the twins exited.
Or something.
It's like a giant book realm. There's books everywhere.
Like you do.
So they get on a train, because there's a train.
Like you do. And Kuroe's pendant turns black for some reason.
I guess it's like, it's a callback to fucking, the thing in season 1 with the little training thing and the pile of books.
Yeah, but the memory museum was destroyed, so why is it so similar?
I don't know. They have a little conversation here about, first of all, like, Hira was asking about Nemu and if she's okay. But then she asked the question, which I was wondering, which I wanted a fucking answer to, which was, hey, why'd you join the Magias? That don't seem cool. Kuroe's just sort of like, look, I couldn't fight the witches here. I was running out of witches back home. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. And she's like, I've already doppeled a lot.
Yeah. And Ira was saying, like, you shouldn't do that because, well, look what happened to me. Like, it really worked out badly for me. But it is this thing of, like, in Kuroe's case, I don't mind this so much because there's no indication that she would understand what the Magius are doing and whether or not they're harming people, I guess.
Is it time to get into that?
Let's maybe wait till the end of the episode. Because there's,
But yeah, I do like when she's like, what would you do, Iroha, if all the magical girls that come to Kamehama are so weak they could die at any time? And Iroha's just like, I'd take their hand and blah, blah, blah. I'm the main character.
Yeah. This is the thing. This is Well, we'll get into this as well at the end.
Oh my.
Yeah. So the train arrives and they're walking around and then, suddenly, it's Rena.
It's Rena.
Yeah.
I forgot that she's also a blue spear person. But she's there in her black feather outfit and she's trying to sneak Kaede out, and Kaede is just not feeling so good.
No, she's feeling bad.
Not in tip-top shape.
No. And they're saying, well, we were members of the Magius, but now we're not because we're leaving because something's wrong with Kaede.
Yeah.
They realize that they can't go back the way they came because the exit's closed. They're going to go back to the hotel and try and find another way out. Iroha mentions, hey, maybe we should go see the coordinator, and Rena's like, no, absolutely not. And it's like, something's happened.
They don't like her. Yeah, because Kaede was like, it's my fault I didn't do what the coordinator said. And as they're walking, her shadow's all Doppely.
They enter a big tube corridor thing, which is a witch incubator, which was a thing in the game. Like, this is what Alina was doing. They raise witches on the emotions pulled from the humans who are trapped and potentially killed by the Yuasa. And then those witches eventually turn into grief seeds, which they harvest and use for, grief seed purposes.
They have to be feeding them to the witches. I think the Uwasa capture people and they feed them to the witches.
They say specifically they're feeding emotions.
I think the idea is that's what witches feed off of in general, like when they kill people.
Yeah.
Because they're feeding off their emotion energy.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty sure the witches are killing them.
Yeah, I can't remember season 1 well enough. I can't remember how explicit the show has been about what happens to people who are trapped by Uwasa.
Yeah, I forget, because I feel like Sanae knew, when I was explaining herself, the Uwasa that Sanae was hanging out with, the digital girl, she knew that the people that she had trapped before Sanae had all been killed. I could swear I remembered that.
I think it was a thing though, like you couldn't escape until you trapped someone else.
Oh shit, you're right.
And that's why Sanae ended up hanging out there for a long time, because she was like, I'd rather stay here.
But Alina came in with the witches that need to eat a people's.
Yeah. The reason we're focused on this is because it's going to be important.
It's important to the extent to which they're doing a mass murder.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Anyway, while they're in that witch harvesting zone, a guard bear turns up. I got to say, when I saw the bears, I had mild, painful flashbacks to that whole section of the game that just fucking went on forever.
Oh my god, yeah. Ugh. Yeah, because this is the bears that are the Fentope Uwasa, whatever. It's a bear tree thing in the game, and you gotta fight it a bunch of times, and they're like, oh, it's too powerful for us to beat, no matter how good you beat it.
Yeah. You fucking beat that thing so many times, and everyone's like, oh no, we can't do it. That's that awful gacha thing. Anyway.
Oh, also in the meantime, we saw the trio from Mitakiara, Sayaka and Homura and Madoka. Yeah. They're here and they're looking at stuff.
In a really brief scene that seems like it probably could have waited till another episode, because that's all we see, is they're investigating and they find a recruitment poster for magical girls. That's it.
Yeah, you just need to be assured that they're around. And Sayaka, because there's this shot in the original show where she bends over all dramatically in a kind of extra way, she bends over even more dramatically and in an even more extra way. Remember the original show? It was good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sakugo, things are moving around, but not as bad as it's going to be later. There's a really, really muscular Kuroe leg shot that was very amusing to me.
Yeah, Kuroe, the bear's attacking them. Kuroe's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to Doppel, because it's going to kill me anyway. And then Iroha grabs and goes, no, and now we're going to connect instead. And they do a big connect, and it ends up being super powerful. And Iroha's like, man, we should team up.
When they do the connect, it plays Credence Justitium, and I'm like, you don't fucking play Mommy's theme during this stupid connect between Iroha and Kuroe. This is not a mommy time. That's her song.
It's also it's a weirdly remixed version of it. I didn't like it. Yeah, for the same reason, though, too.
No, yeah. Get out of here. And then they fire some kind of big Sakuga shape and they win.
Yeah, the Sakuga in this episode, it slips into the same thing where, it just becomes too hard to follow. Paused frames look nice, but it doesn't animate right. It's just, I just cannot tell what's happening.
Yeah, the sequence that's coming up, it's just zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Every shot is as close up and as big of perspective as he can, and he needs to calm the motherfucker down. Yeah. He's wasting the budget, and you can't even see what's happening.
So what happens is they beat the bear, but Kaede's been hit or something.
Well, she's still not feeling good.
And she's like, sorry, Rena. I'm really sorry, Rena. And then she doppels. But apparently, this time, what the doppel does is fuse with her in a way where she can't unfuse and is now attacking everyone. So they have to fight it.
Yeah. There's some nice Sakuga as they're dodging this big doppel combination thing, but then once Rena and Iroha do a connect, then it's that guy with the dramatic shading and the Sakuga you can't follow.
And I'm just watching all this stuff move around, and then eventually it's like, oh, okay, she's been pinned. Doppel Rena has been pinned to a wall. So okay,
yeah, whatever happened, now she's pinned.
And then who turns up?
It's Mitama and Momoko, and she's like, what did I tell you? You need to be coordinated or that'll happen.
She puts Doppel Kaede in a big jar.
Big bottle.
And they just sort of roll it. They roll it into a room that is labeled the Doppel Syndrome Isolation Ward. And Mitama's like, well, that's that. And...
I said there were side effects.
So what happens is, Mitama explains that if you doppel too often, you end up fusing with your doppel and then you can't be unfused and you're just stuck like that.
But somehow it's still not the same thing as being a witch, which I kind of call horseshit on.
So this is the thing. Like, this whole scene plays out almost exactly the same as when people found out about witches. Because, like, they're going, oh, this is terrible, why didn't you tell us? And Mitama's like, well, I did say there were side effects. And I think Momoko actually says, how is this any different to being a witch? And no one has it. And,
I think...
And Mitama says, oh, well, you know, would you rather they died? And like, well, maybe they'll be cured when whatever the Magius are up to happens. Maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe the witches will too. I mean, who the fuck? I just don't understand why these are separate concepts.
Well, this is the thing.
Your doppel is explicitly a witch that is separated from you. And then if you get fused with your witch, you should just be a witch.
This is the thing. This is why this episode disappointed me a lot, because I thought they actually did come up with a good reason to not doppel in the last episode. In the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Like, you lose control. You might get stuck. Like, you might hurt someone. Like, those are all perfectly good reasons. What they've done now is they've just brought witches back.
Yeah, it's just the same thing.
It's just witches. This is just witches. And what also sucks is that Mitama is just being Kyubey. Like, oh, well, you know, she didn't tell you the whole story, even though she knew, and she's being, like, you know, completely amoral about this. But, like, the thing with Kyubey is Kyubey had solid reasons for being vague about witches, because he needed the girls to turn into witches to harvest energy, because that was the whole point of what he was doing. What do the Magius get out of doppels? Maybe this will be explained, but why would the Magius let their soldiers doppel all the time if this was the consequence?
Phoenix. What? She said there would be side effects.
This is what I mean. Like, what? Like, first of all, yeah. What does the Magius get out of it? Like, is it just unavoidable? Is this for some purpose? And secondly, what does specifically Mitama get out of this? Like, what is the specific reason she is being vague? What reason does she have to not tell them, hey, don't doppel because you'll end up becoming a uber witch? Like, why not tell people that? Why be vague about it? What's the reasoning? It really feels to me like they just wanted to do witches and Kyubey again. But there's no justification for it this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the whole idea was supposed to be that, you know, like, doppels seem like this perfect thing that helps you not have to become a witch. And then for the reveal to, instead of being, this more complicated situation, it's just, also it just turns you into a witch eventually. It's just like, oh, okay then. It's
just witches again, here's Kyubey again, we're doing all the old stuff. It's a twist, everyone's shocked.
Also, my poor gardener girl and a lot of other ones are in there, so that's fun cameos for them. They've all been doppel trapped.
Yeah. Now,
that's silly.
The second dumb thing that happens here is that Kuroe is like, has a very upset expression on her face, and she's holding a gem because she's like, Jesus Christ, this was probably almost about to happen to me. And then Iroha takes her hand and is saying, I understand that, when people are scared, they make poor decisions. But I think the same thing applies to Nemu and Toka. So I've got to go talk to Nemu and Toka and help them because I bet they're scared, and I've got to tell them, we're here for them, and we'll get through all this together.
Sometimes when you're like scared and confused and you do little mass murder.
Just
as a treat.
This is the return of Iroha the Jesus. And she's boring. This is the Iroha I was bored of for the entire game. Like, just constant forgiveness, never any outrage. Looking at the intensely horrible thing that's happening and going, oh, poor Toku and Nemu. Like, no.
Yeah.
This is lame.
And our girl Alina, because the last thing, the last shot before the ending is the three Magius in their Magius meeting zone, and Toka and Nemu are like, it's almost time, oh, and Alina's just sitting there looking like, ugh. And I'm like, girl, same.
Yeah, I'm curious what her emotions are at the moment. She seems frustrated by something.
She's like, what, just witches again? Why did they do that?
Now, the other thing is, something that like we should have brought up last week but forgot to.
Yeah.
But we can bring up now. Because here's the thing. Momoko and Rena and Kaede all joined the Wings of the Magius and have been part of them for as long as Yachiyo has been looking for Iroha.
And Sanae and Felicia.
And the thing is, these guys have got to know
what?
That the Yuasa hurt people, right?
Is that a problem?
Like, this was already something we wanted to talk about, was how, like these were the good guys in the game who learned about what was happening. Like, even once they learned that, like, how it's meant to save you, the girls who joined the Magius are always cast as, like, sure, they're scared, but this is a cowardly act, and you're hurting someone else to save yourself. And that's not a good thing. And that's something all of the heroes rejected. In the show, they don't seem to be rejecting it.
Especially because in episode 2, it was played like, do we trust these guys? I don't know. I mean, I guess if they have a solution that's good, not, are we okay with the whole part of this that's mass murder?
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the part that hasn't been acknowledged yet, that like innocent people are being harmed.
It's so weird.
What I'm worried about now, that little speech from Iroha about how, like, you know, you make bad decisions when you're scared. I'm kind of concerned that that's going to be used to forgive everyone for their actions.
Oh, of course.
Like, because like it was already
I have no doubt.
It was already frustrating enough when that was done with Mifuyu, and there was no reckoning with what she'd done. But now you're doing it with like the majority of the cast, and it's like I'm really concerned that's like this episode is as far as it's going to go. Oh, you were scared, so it was okay, and that's it. We're not going to reckon with it at all.
Phoenix, I am so sick of your puritanical cancel culture where you're not even allowing main characters to be a little problematic in terms of being okay with mass murder. Po Buddy's nerfed.
So yeah, I don't know. I was high, and now I'm low again.
Yeah, it's very silly. It's Inukuri, I guess you're having fun, having everyone be aggressively weird at each other.
And yeah.
But you just did witches again, and everybody's okay with some pretty bad, horrible things.
This is what I meant when I said, like, I felt like episode 3 was the good side of like taking the right lessons from what was good about Madoka in terms of the characterization and going through like exploring those things. And this is the bad side where you repeat the things that have already been done because you like to have cool twists. Everyone going, oh no! It's lame.
Yeah, and it's like, again, it's not a cool twist if it's just this thing is the same as the other thing.
Yeah.
At least in the game, there was actually like some kind of moral conundrum there, and topples were useful.
Also, one more thing we should note. I think episode 3 or 4, we finally get a proper ED.
Yes, this one gives us the proper ED. Double naked Tsuruno across the sky. What does it mean?
So intense.
There's naked Tsuruno with a lighter haired and a darker haired one, and they're naked together.
I mean, we know what that is.
Because art, I guess it's Uwasa her, but it's still silly.
I know you said that the ED seemed like it was shipping Iroha and Kuroe.
You mean the OP?
Sorry, the OP? Yeah. Well, don't worry, the ED's got your back. It's back to Yachiyo shipping, I guess.
Yachiyo.
There's a lot of them in beautiful white gowns falling on each other and standing and looking at a thing, and I don't know.
I do like the ending song. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, the song's fine.
But yeah, there's a little sexy, and some of it's better than other parts. There's a lot of butterflies. It's fine. Okay.
But yeah, the Iroha Yachiyo shippy stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I still don't know why Kuroe is here. In the end, I'm still not sure why she's here.
In the end, she doesn't even matter.
I tried so hard. I got so far. But in the end, Doppels are just witches.
Let's make it AMV. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I was like last week I was like, man, digging this, and then no. Just nah.
I'm still amused.
I still like Yachiyo, but you know.
Yeah.
It deserves a better show.
We'll see what happens with Tsuruno once they presumably are going to go through something similar with her and Uwasa.
I saw someone say that apparently Inukari has said that she wasn't pleased with how happy ending the game was.
Wait, is Inukuri not multiple people?
Oh, well, I don't know. There was some interview. Whoever's running the show wasn't happy with the happy ending of the game, so this is gonna be more suffery. And I'm like,
kill Toka. We're
already like we're already going down that path. If like Yeah, a number of the nice girls, you can see their doppels trapped for possibly forever in that doppel trap zone. So yeah.
Well, it is a real show.
I don't mind it being dark as long as there's a point. And also, like, I prefer something I haven't seen before. That's all I want. Like, it's not that much to ask.
Yeah, I just don't want it to just be witches again.
Yeah. It's as lazy as all of the other, like, bad Madoka spin-offs where they're just sort of, let's do the same thing again. Yeah. Or, like, the ones that, the other knockoff shows. Like, yeah.
That's a good summation. Anyways, so hopefully next episode, what do you think's gonna happen?
More things will happen, I'm sure. I guess. I don't know.
Maybe rocks will fall and everyone will die again. Maybe Sakuga guy will learn how to let you see the characters during a Sakuga. And maybe Toka will die.
Yeah.
I'm holding out hopes. Well, have a nice Maho, everyone.
Yeah, have a nice Mahos. Find them somewhere.
Eyebrows.